Good day, everyone. It's high time to start. I'm very glad to see you all here, and I would just ask you to leave all of the questions that might appear during the presentation for the end. Thank you for this, and as you see, I'm going to talk today about migration in Plon. I'm going to present you our approach to Plon portal to migration in Plon. But before that, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Vitaly Podoba. I am Zooplon developer at Quinta Group. My username at plon.org is PIV, P-I-V, and Vipot is my nickname at Plon IRC channel. So that's it about me. Let's talk about Plon. These days, as all we know, Plon is celebrating his 7th birthday these days. So happy birthday, Plon. And all this time, 7 years, Plon people were working hard to implement more and more websites, Plon sites. And as time was passing, not all of these sites were upgrading to fresh new versions. And it's actually a natural process. But with the recent brand new superb Plon 3 release, customers are willing to move their old 2.1, 2.1, 2.5 versions websites to new Plon 3 one. And this is also a natural process, because as you see, Plon 3 is really, really good. So what to do? By the time being, the main approach to portal migration is its native built-in Plon portal migration tool. This approach is really vital for us, and it's hard to overvalue it. We have been using it since the first Plon releases, and I'm sure we will be using it for quite a while. This approach is very well described in Plon portal migration guide at plon.org. But there are a few rough edges in Plon portal migration in terms of content migration. What's that? First and the worst thing about Plon portal migration is that sometimes it can fail. It especially concerns really heavily customized and very old Plon versions like 2.0 or even Plon 2.1. And Plon is a very flexible system, but when migrating, it will affect your result, the result of migration, by what changes you have made to the system. For example, if you have a simple Plon site with simple customizations, it will likely work very well. But if you have installed a lot of different and depends on a lot of different third-party products produced by different developers, then it's hard to say something definite. So heavily customized sites should take into account some extra time to do the transition, to do the migration. And the second thing, rough edge, called here as loose control. Site upgrades currently utilize a function registry that enables you to upgrade, to make upgrades. And this process is labor intensive and is not introspectable with regards to the changes it makes to your site, to your system. Actually, it's called as loose control here. Next, you cannot migrate from Plon 2.1, for example, to Plon 3.1 without intermediate 2.5 Plon version. Moreover, you cannot migrate from newer Plon version to older. You can think, why do I need such thing? But I'm talking about these rough edges in Plon portal migrations from the point of view of content migration, not just Plon upgrades, from the side of migrations. And perhaps that's it about migration, and let's see at our use case. I want to say a few words about our use case. It's this use case actually involved us to this Quantum Leap session. We decided to test the content migration strategy on one of our well-known websites called contentmanagementsoftware.info, and from now on I will call it just CMS info. So historically, the website was migrated from 2.0.5 version to 2.1, and a long time ago. And during this migration, content was converted from regular CMF to archetypes, leaving a lot of different trash and a lot of craft in a database. So we had to migrate it from 2.1 to 3.1 version. It was our use case. And we took care only about content. We do not care neither about functionality, neither preferences, and any other functionality, because we wanted to replace it with a new ones. And what's more, this site has had its own blog based built using simple blog product, which, as you know, is not supported in Plon 3. And this site had a few forms built with the help of Plon 4 mailer, which is also not compatible with Plon 3. So we had a task to migrate this content to some other content, types of content which are supported in Plon 3. And this last two task about forms and blog it could definitely not be accomplished with the help of standard Plon portal migration tool. So that's why this use case CMS info is was ideal case for quantum migration leap. And this photo is from my last mountain trip. I'm doing my quantum leap, taking from Plon 2.1, flying over Plon 2.5, and landing on Plon 3.1. This all is true about our use case. And we migrated content from Plon 2.1 to Plon 3.1 without intermediate version by version steps. That's why this session is called Quantum Leap. It's about significant step forward from Plon 2.1 to Plon 3.1 without Plon 2.5 version. And now this approach can be very well covered by generic setup approach. But a generic setup product which was introduced by Trastceiver. I want to say just a few words about this product, but I think everybody of you know about this product and use. But anyway, generic setup introduces the idea of setup profiles. And these profiles are a collection of XML files which actually describe different aspects of your configuration of your site. But actually we needed only one step from this tool called content, which is responsible for migrating content for export and import content, actual content. So let's consider why generic setup approach is so good, is so useful in our use case. First of all, we are not willing to migrate any functionality. We care only about content, as I have mentioned it. So we won't be doing unnecessary work. Second, we will acquire a clean, created from scratch database. without any trash, which was possibly collected by previous migrations or whatever. With this migration, we will be able to transform one portal type to another one on the fly during the import. And after export, we will have a bunch of XML files, which we will be able to transform, manipulate, and even before moving them, insert them back into the database, into our site. We will also be able to even exchange the content of our site with another content consumers. Next, we will. This approach is reciprocal. That means that we can export content and then re-import it back. And moreover, it could be done between different Plon versions. I think now we have a sufficient amount of arguments to start our investigation of this approach. But as you know, nothing is perfect in our world. Neither is a Plon's export-import story. Let's end as proof of the fact that this Plon export-import story is not very good, is not completed yet. Here is a link to PSPS 7826 called Content Import Export. And this ticket, this feature request is still in progress. This means that at the moment Plon doesn't provide us with a solid content export solution. But anyway, let's consider what does it provide. So what do we have? Together with CMF Plon, generic setup, CMF core, CMF topic, archetypes, and AT content types, and Marshall product, we have out of the box, we can migrate folder, a document, and news item. That's all about content types. These content types will be handled together with almost all archetypes schema fields and unique IDs. Why almost but not all? Because Marshall product, due to some unknown for me reasons, just skips exporting of reference fields, and there are some problem with file fields in archetypes, and it's because archetypes file fields accessor does not return us actual date, but only a link to this image of file in context of your portal. And apart from archetypes, here we have Marshall will process for us contents type, workflow history, and local roles. That's it, what we have out of the box in Plon right now. As you see, this list is far from being complete. So a lot of important features issues are still missing here. And this the next list. This is about what do we needed to make, what we needed to do to make our migration. So the main task was to transfer all standard types, including topics with criteria. We didn't have any mechanism to migrate AT references. There were problems with archetypes file fields, and in CMS info site we had installed QC optimizer product, which intensively uses a lot of properties, and we had to migrate these properties too. And the last but not the least, we had to transfer comments, also known as discussion items. And now, after we figure out what do we need to do, we can take a look at the existing possible solutions. These two packages, as I know, is the best what do we have right now. First one is collective.plon.jsxml, written by Raymond Bartel and Stefan Ellishofer. It's very good because it provides us with export-import of all standard, at least all standard Plon portal types, and any other archetypes based, but it heavily depends on a Marshall product. So that's why this the problems with Marshall will persist with JSXML too. And in addition, this package can migrate for us AT references. From another side, we have collective.transmogrifier and plon app.transmogrifier written by Martin Peters. This one is very well designed, is easily extendable, and has a lot of different import handlers in terms of transmogrifier handlers, which can import content. But there are still missing a lot of different things that related to export content, which are missing in transmogrifier. And we decided to rely on collective.transmogrifier package. So finally, our result looks like this. The solution, this package, quintagroup.transmogrifier, provide a bunch of different handlers called sections in transmogrifier, which give us possibility to export and import all the things which are missing in Plon at the moment, which I have mentioned before. And this package is now available at our Quintagroup's repository, svn.quintagroup.com/products. And actually it's still in progress, but we migrate because first initial release, code was based on JSXML, but then we realized that it's not enough extendable for us, and we switched from JSXML to transmogrifier. So, and this code refactorization is still in progress. A part of these packages and this use case, we had a few more extra tasks. The first task was to migrate Simpleblock, as I mentioned before, to migrate Simpleblock to Quills content. The second was similar, but with forms, form mailer to Plon form gen. And of course, we had to migrate Plon users, members, portals, things, and transfer redirection tool settings. And for all these things, for first two things, we have these two packages, Simpleblock to Quills and PFM to PUG. Strange name, but still, if you want to migrate from your content, your block, from simple block content to Quills content, then you can use this first package called quintagroup.transmogrifier.simpleblock to Quills. And if you want to migrate forms based on Plonform mailer, migrate them to Plonform gen based, then you can use quintagroup.transmogrifier.pfm to PUG. We hope we will use these packages, and it will be useful for you. So we are looking forward to get some feedback from you. And it's not everything. For the end, I want to say what is still missing in our solution. What should be done? Roadmap. It's content versions, local permission settings, blobs, and I think there are a lot of different things that should be done, but I don't remember, or I even don't know about them. And for the end, it's a bunch of different links that I have mentioned before. And I forget to say a big thank you to those people who have written JSXML, collective.plon.jsxml, and Martin Peters for his collective.transmogrifier package. Thank you them. And actually, that's it. It's high time for questions. So, any questions? Yeah.
How long did it take you to migrate your site? Or are you still in the progress of migrating?
Site have migrated already, but this package, these packages are just refactorization, called refactorizations. The initial release is not available. It's just internal release, and now it's in refactorization is still in progress. But to migrate the site, you are interested in how much does it take to do the actual migration transition? Yes, from we had near 1,500 items in our portal, and it took near 2 minutes to export, to dump all this content into XML files, and then just to and a lot of time. It depends on your machine, but it took average time was 10, 15, 20 minutes to insert them back into Plon 3. But actually, these packages are not just to migrate from Plon 2.1 to Plon 3.1. You can use even if you want to export and re-import them back into Plon 3 version, only Plon 3. It does not necessarily require Plon 2.1 or whatever.
Does Transmogrifier handle UIDs? You said.
Okay.
Reference field.
At the moment, we depend on Marshall a lot, and this is a Marshall approach. It just inserts new UIDs, unique IDs, insert new ones in your site. This is a bad thing about this unique IDs, because it's dangerous about if you have some previous content in your before the import, you have some initial content in your site, and then some unique IDs may overlap, and this is a problem. And I think it will be replace this approach with unique IDs. But now we heavily relying on Marshall product, and this is way how it works right now.
So when you import into the new site,
UIDs will be the same as they were on your old site.
okay.
Any more questions?
Yeah, what do you mean by no blob support? Also not standard images and files, or?
Actually, I don't know how to support them too, and but we have now a lot of different packages that provide us with blob support, which means that you won't be saving your data into the ODB file, into the object database, but just straightforward in your file system on your disk. This blob support. I don't know whether we should handle this blob support something separately. Some additional code should be done on this. I just don't know. But this roadmap was taken from this PSPS, this feature request ticket.
How long was it total, you say, for when you guys decided to start migrating with your tool, first generation tool, until it was completed?
Actually, it took initial implementation. It took in near 1 month, But then we decided to refactor these codes to transmogrifier, yes, refactorization, and it took a little bit more. Any other questions?
Do you really need the XML file in between? Could you just use XML RPC to, send the information direct without the need of a file?
Because we should, for example, if I want to, now it's required. You just take it and then during the import, you will give it back. And for example, if you have Plone 2.1 and want to migrate content from Plone 2.1 to Plone 2.5, you will take this content from Plone 2.1, export, and then you will have to set up your build out or whatever, how you are doing your setup, and give it back, give it to your new Plone Plone instance. And it's required because it's some kind of buffer to take this. Does it make any sense?
Well,
Obviously
the destination box would have to be set up. I mean, with
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
types you want, okay, and that could be done as a separate
Yeah,
step, I
yeah.
would think. But once you have the two boxes with two types that you want to move data from and to, it sounds to me you may not need an XML file in the middle. And I would
I see.
think you would stick with that.
It's not. I think it's possible to do, but it's not implemented. I don't know if it makes any sense. It makes sense if you want to do this quickly. Yeah. Some other questions? Okay. Thank you for being here. And thank you a lot for your MacBook.